Hello everybody, I'm Paul Higgins and welcome to Shanghai, China for the 2014 Kia World Extreme Games. We've got a great show and this is what you can expect. Coming up, we'll be taking a look at BMX Vert, but first, let's take a look at Dennis McCoy.
This is my 29th year competing professionally, so obviously I've done something to sort of take it serious, but I think it's worked out for me because I just treat it like I'm doing it for fun. My bike is a Haro Lineage, which is like the latest Haro frame. Haro is like the first BMX freestyle brand. The guys up on the ramp are my friends. The crowd here is really into it, and I've got good memories from coming to Shanghai, so I look for this to be more of the same. I get up each day motivated for something, whether it's a new ramp you're building, a new spot you're riding, a new trick you're trying to learn. You can have the greatest session riding by yourself, and you can have the greatest session with 50 friends. So for me, I draw my inspiration from just the love of BMX.
Welcome to the BMX Vert Final. 10 riders in all getting ready to just tear up this half pipe. Here's the rules and regulations of this event. 10 athletes, they get 3 runs, 30 seconds each, and the highest score wins. If you fall, you're done for the run. But again, your highest score wins. We have 10 competitors in this pipe today, and they are all very good riders. We started off with Morgan Wade, and you see some of the high-enders. Of course, every one of these riders are good. In the middle of your pack at number 7 is Dennis McCoy. Zach will tell you some interesting things about him. Chad KWEG, Simon Tabron, and Vince Byron. They will all be vying for a medal. Morgan Wade getting ready to drop in. There's a good look at Morgan Wade, and here he comes in on the roll, and he gets 30 seconds to tear it up.
Let's see what Morgan brings. The first rider here in the finals, BMX Vert. Nice tail whip. Morgan's not typically a vert rider, but he certainly has a lot of tricks on this vert ramp.
Judged on creativity, style, difficulty of tricks, flow of run, and big old tail whips like that.
Nice double tail whip out of Morgan. And this is a jam format. It really allows these guys to be a little bit free to feed off of each other's energy. When one rider comes out, he'll get his score, and the next rider will drop back in. Morgan Wade staying on the bicycle. Good first run for the man from Texas, USA, Morgan Wade.
Dropping in now is Zach Newman, another rider out of the USA. What do you know about Zach? What can you tell us?
I actually rode with Zach quite a bit when I lived back in Ohio. He's a Kentucky boy. This is his first time in China. His jaw has been on the ground the entire time. He's a very original rider. So let's see if he can take it like that. Wow, X-up tire grab. Zach, very unconventional rider. Another great combination right there. Tail whip to X-up. He's got some really unique tricks. And an event like this, that can certainly help you get on the podium.
And one thing that Zach will learn as he's doing right now, he's using the entire ramp. I know he stayed on the 1/3 of it for a little while, but then he crosses over, and that's one of the things you got to do. So we'll look at Zach's score. Right now, Wade has a 74.67.
First run for Ben Snowden.
And looking at Zach Newman, he had a 78, so he leads the scores going in.
I really like Ben Snowden's style because he's ambidextrous. He carves one way, and then he'll come carving the other way. You see, he carves to the left right there, now he's carving to the right. Certainly helps with his score, showing his versatility.
And Zach, we talk about that every year. It's like picking up your toothbrush with your opposite hand and brushing your teeth every morning.
Absolutely, not easy to do, but a lot more riders are learning that if you want to get on that podium, you have to learn riding opposite.
Some of these guys have come from Midwest, the East Coast of the United States, where it's been cold, and they drop into a very warm day here in Shanghai. So their athleticism and being in shape is going to count.
Certainly helps. Dropping in right now, this is Brazil's Douglas Liche. They call him Dougie Fresh. First time here to China as well for this guy, and he has been killing it the last couple of days in practice. Look how high he boosts.
Plenty of height for Liche as he covers the entire ramp, crossing the channel and back on the other side, right in front of our great crowd here in Shanghai, China.
Every year the crowd gets bigger and bigger, more people getting into action sports. Certainly a bonus for these riders when they know that the crowd is behind them cheering them on. All right, here comes Colton Satterfield for his first run. Another familiar face out here in Shanghai. Nice tuck no-hander there. Colton's got some big tricks under his belt. He's dueling up this weekend riding Mini Mega as well as Vert. Yeah, that's called a flare, 180 backflip. Again, these guys have 3 runs.
Colton Satterfield, as you mentioned, also representing the United States of America. A huge tail whip to finish his run right at the buzzer.
Michael Laren dropping in. Here we go. Yeah, one-handed, one-footer. Again, look for some original tricks out of this guy. He's got a bunch of tricks that nobody else is doing. See if we get any in the first run out of him. Clicking a look back right there. There's a great look at a Grizz Air. That's a trick that nobody else is going to be doing this weekend. Michael Laren looking very, very sharp in his first visit. Yeah, that's a downside double tail whip. Pulling that one clean, that's going to be time. Michael's got to be psyched on that run, waving to the great crowd here in Shanghai.
Dennis McCoy, 47 years old, dropping in right now.
29 years of competing professionally. They call him the grandfather of BMX.
And Dennis is just busting out huge tricks as he starts his run.
540 straight into a bar spin. Dennis is another guy that loves to do combos. Combination tricks, obviously more than one in the air. Like that. That's a flare can-can.
Can taking his foot off the pedal. And one thing about Dennis, he definitely wants a solid run to build on without a fall, and he does.
Dennis, out of all of these guys, Dennis knows what it takes to get into the finals. And it looked like Dennis was chilling there a little bit, but believe it or not, throwing a 540 bar spin.
They each get 3 runs, and you're judged on your highest score as Chad starts to drop in.
Chad KWEG starting off with a big backflip twist. We call it a flare. Nice little tire grab. Yeah, Superman C-grab, Indian air. Yeah, KWEG, that's called a flare whip. 180 backflip with a tail whip in the middle of it. Quick little flare, in and out. Chad KWEG getting a solid run under his belt. Let's see what Mr. Tabron brings to Shanghai in run number 1 here in the finals. Here we go.
Simon dropping in once again. Very strong rider, as Zach mentioned, a contest veteran, and seems to do things that nobody else does on a bike.
Simon, another super exciting guy to watch ride. Spends a lot of time riding Tony Hawk's ramp out there in California. One of the few BMX riders that has permission to ride Mr. Hawk's ramp. Yeah, can 540.
No doubt the best run so far. Simon Tabron putting it together.
Yeah, alley-oop 540. Alley-oop is when he travels backwards. Good run for Simon right there.
Simon out there putting on a demo.
A lot of these guys, they got surprises they want to save to throw on their last runs, and here comes last year's champ, Vince Byron.
Put on your seatbelt with this guy, because he can fly.
Starting things off, catches a big air.
Huge over the channel.
Flare whip, kicking the frame around as he's upside down with a twist.
Oh my
Double
goodness.
tail whip on the wall, following it up with a Superman seat grab Indian. This is why he is your last year's champion.
Vince Byron putting on a show, going upside down, moving those bars, racking up the points as he goes.
540 tail whip. Wow, he can do no wrong right here. Finishing up with an opposite flare. Paul, incredible run from last year's champion.
The Kia World Extreme Games will be right back with more heart-pumping action after the break. The excitement continues at Jingwon Stadium here in Shanghai. Let's head back to the action.
Before Vince Byron's run, Tabron was leading with an 84. We'll have to wait to see what Vince Byron's score was as our rider, Morgan Wade, prepares for his second run. The crowd getting geared up, and here we go with Morgan Wade's second run.
Morgan Wade got a 74.67 on his first run.
Nice tuck no-hander there. We call it a tuck no-hander. The rider tucks their handlebars up into their lap.
In this top 10 riders, we have 7 from the US, 1 from the UK, 1 from Brazil, and 1 from Australia. And of course, the Australian Vince Byron won it last year and just had a really good run.
Morgan Wade, yeah, no-handed flare. Morgan Wade pulling out some new tricks in run number 2. Nice little toothpick on the coping right there. We call that a lip trick. Balancing on his peg. A toothpick is when they stall on the front peg. An ice pick is on the back peg. Don't see lip tricks too often, but Morgan Wade throwing down a lip trick at the end of run number 2. Let's see some of Doug's style.
Doug dropping in with a huge crowd behind him as they've come into the infield to enjoy exactly what this sport is all about. He's now dropping in and using the entire pipe.
Yeah, bar spin to X-up right there. Another great look at a tuck no-hander. They actually call that trick a condor in France as a bit of respect to Matt Hoffman.
That's right, Matt Hoffman's nickname, the Condor, for good reason. And if you can explain, too, as he comes sliding at the end, that will come after the buzzer, but there's a big channel, big hole in the middle on one side of the ramp. As Zach mentioned, the crowd does get bigger and better, and they get more accustomed to what this is all about. They used to cheer all the time. Now they pick their spots and they know exactly when to cheer.
Yeah, they're very, very knowledgeable. And to be honest, when you have a good crowd behind these guys, it makes the energy that much higher, and these guys ride so much better when they know that the crowd is behind them.
And here we are up in the broadcast booth, and there's probably 1,000 people behind us.
Oh yeah, there's tons of people. We're taking pictures with them.
That's right. Up on the coping, up on the channel, double tail.
Yeah. Colton Satterfield out here, another guy that knows what he needs to do to get into the finals. He's actually roommates with last year's champ Vince Byron, so they've got a little side bet on who's going to make it into the finals. Roommates, good friends, riding partners, but right now they're competitors.
Satterfield with a bar spin back, a nice way to finish his run.
So let's see what Michael Laren brings to the party in run number 2.
Okay, Zach, you settling in? We've seen one run. You having fun yet?
I'm always having fun.
Okay, here we go.
We got great weather. We got a great crowd. It's a party.
No doubt about it here in the men's vert final with BMX, the 2014 Kia World Extreme Games in Shanghai, China. And the pipe always brings out the people, and definitely the riders bringing it down.
There's another great look at that downside double tail whip and letting him fly. Tuck no-hander. Another great run from Michael Laren.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's hear it for Dennis McCoy.
Dennis McCoy with a 79.67. We'll see what he cranks out on his second run.
Getting inverted right there. That's a 540 spin. He's got a ton of 5 variations. One-handed can-can. Can-can flare. Flare, another trick invented by Matt Hoffman. It's got to be so awesome for these guys to be riding right now. 900! Whoa, Paul! 900 out of Dennis McCoy. Of course, Matt Hoffman, again, the guy that brought the 900 to BMX, as well as the no-handed 900.
Here it is, Dennis McCoy throwing out a 900.
2.5 revolutions. Matt Hoffman pulled the first 900 in 1989, and it's still one of the toughest tricks on vert. This guy's got a bunch too. Chad KWEG in the mix. Chad's got well over 20 X Games medals. He's got 8 golds. Big flare tail whip right there.
Chad KWEG, his first score is 77.33. He just blew that out the door.
Superman seat grab Indian air. They call it an Indian because the legs get crossed in the air.
It's noteworthy to tell you that Dennis McCoy got an 84.67 right now. That puts him in silver medal.
Now what's going to be interesting here is Tabron is one of the other guys on that ramp that can throw 9s and he can do 900s consistently. The fact that McCoy threw a 900 out, is he going to raise the bar and throw a 900 as well? Let's find out. Simon Tabron in right now.
Simon sporting the white tires too on his bike.
Boosting some big airs. One-handed 540. Beautiful execution of that one. No-handed alley-oop 540.
Talking about alley-oop, he's actually traveling backwards.
Looks like he's setting up for something here.
1 footer.
Wow. Look, I guess that would be a look back can 540 right there.
Simon Tabron had a score of 84. And now we move to Vince Byron. He got an 84.33. You know, you mentioned some of these tricks, and a little bit later on this weekend, we're going to see, as we always do, the FMX riders. Their inspiration is these guys on the ramp right here, right now.
Absolutely. A lot of them watch BMX, they see how the physics work, and they figure it out on the big bikes.
I mean, when I was in San Francisco doing the X Games, and someone said, oh, someone's going to do a backflip on a motorcycle, and they said, what? And then look where we are now.
It's crazy. The level of progression is because of events like this. You know, every year the bar gets raised. Every year these guys come with new tricks. And Vince Byron putting in work right there, run number 2. His first run score was 87.33. So he's in the lead right now. So he was chilling a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody can catch up to him. Flare tail whip, half of a flip, half of an air, all tail whip. One of the most difficult tricks in BMX Vert.
So you're watching the Kia World Extreme Games right here in Shanghai, China. We have one more run to go from each athlete. We'll be back after this.
Vince Byron, last year's champion, he is poised and ready to leave here with another gold medal. We're at the point now where everybody's chasing him. He's got the highest run of the day, and here we go with third runs. Morgan Wade coming on in right now.
Yeah, coming through the channel, and you see his shirt that he has on, HB Hoffman Bikes, and I mentioned Matt Hoffman. He is here organizing and overlooking the judges, so we welcome him, and his rider is now in the pipe.
Morgan Wade, yeah, pointing at the judges right there. You saw that. That's called ratitude, when the rider doesn't look at what he's doing, he's looking at people in the crowd. Morgan always animated, such a character.
Morgan going to finish up his run on his bike.
Yeah, there's an ice pick followed up with a toothpick, stalling on the back peg and the front peg, and that's going to do it for Morgan Wade.
Immediately following back to the competition. Starting now the final roll inside. Working on for Ben Snowden.
And Snowden in the pipe, as you said, Zach. And what does he need to do to, well, right there, that's not going to help him too much.
No, you know what? I think what happened, we talked
on.
about, he just lost his momentum.
Waves to the crowd, and he'll drop into the half pipe, going towards our crowd on the infield. So they get a really good look at him right here.
With some of the biggest airs we've seen all day. Yeah, a little invert action. Looks like he might be setting up for something third run.
And again, the difference that we see in a run like this, how do you compare that to a run like a Chad KWEG or Simon or Vince? It's just how high they get out and they perform different tricks up in the air.
Yeah, you know, I think the problem with Doug is he doesn't have a lot of experience in riding big contests, whereas those other three guys do, and they know that you have to be in motion constantly. You have to pull all of your tricks. Doug firing out that 540 at the end of it, but I don't think that's going to be enough to crack him into the top three. See what Michael's got again. A very original rider, has some really original tricks. He would love to get on the podium here. Expect him to step it up a little bit. Yeah, starting off one-handed, one-footer, right into a Grizz air. Look back. Toboggan, tricking every wall. That's what the judges like to see.
Getting much better height this time too, Zach.
Canted tail whip, that was awesome. I don't know if I've ever seen someone do that before. Double downside whip. Opposite air Superman. Wow, great run for Michael Laren. That might be his best run yet. His best run is at 78.33. Will that run top his former run? We're gonna have to wait and see.
You know what I like about this is Chad KWEG in the back with the red. He was filming it. Dennis McCoy dropping in for his 1,000th time.
See what McCoy's gonna fire out. We saw a 900 out of this guy in run number 2, currently an 84.67.
He does have that 84.67 we talk about.
Whoa, that's a 540 half bar spin
Handlebars
McCoy.
were backwards.
Nobody does that trick, Paul, for 2 reasons. 1, it's old school. 2, it's very, very dangerous.
So he had, I was curious if he was going to say so here. Called out right there, the handlebars backwards.
Wow, I think he might have been going for a full bar spin right there, and he just opted to be a little bit safe. But that's classic Dennis McCoy right there. What a run for DMC. Woo! Chad's been working hard in the offseason. He can certainly pull a new one out here. Let's see what we get out of Chad KWEG. Starting things off with a big flare. Tuck no-hander. Yeah, a little seat grab one-footer right there.
Huge.
Flare whip, keeping it rolling. Yeah, Chad.
You notice Chad using the entire ramp. He went over the channel and getting big airs and lots of different tricks. Great style for Chad.
Clicking a turn down. KWEG winding it down right here. See what we're gonna get out of Chad KWEG. Tail whip, keeping it safe.
What do you think? Is it going to touch an 87?
That's a tough one. It's easy for me to sit here and say yes, but the judges, I mean, they are way more knowledgeable than me. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that's not enough to get him in.
Okay, Chad KWEG with a 79.33. They're still tabulating his score. This guy could change everything right here.
Do we see the 900 out of Simon Tabron? I told you, he's one of the few guys that can throw it consistently. McCoy is higher than him right now. Will the 9 come out from the Englishman? Some big airs. No-handed 540, perfect. Call that one a toboggan. Alley-oop 540. Winding things down here. Does the 9 come out?
Doesn't look like he's gonna do it. Maybe here at the end, but he really doesn't look like he's gearing up for it. One-footer, can 540.
And that is gonna do it right there for Simon Tabron. We do not see the 900.
His last run was an 83.33. Vince Byron drops in, and once again, he will win the Kia World Extreme Games on the BMX Vert ramp.
Vince Byron gonna give the people a show. This is his victory lap. Now you would think that he might take it easy because he's also riding in Mini Mega this weekend, but Vince Byron is out of his mind. He's crazy. He just wants to give the crowd a great show. Nice bar spin flare right there. Byron, so enjoyable to watch ride. 540 bar spin. So many difficult tricks, and he makes it look easy.
Simon Tebron sporting yet another medal. This time it's bronze. Just exceptional rider, has so much history in this sport and continues to ride super hard. One thing, you look at these guys, they're all in great shape. They have to be to handle those bikes and what they do. And those guys have known each other forever. Matt Hoffman putting on the medal, that is amazing right there. That is really cool. And then Matt will put the gold medal on our reigning champion and returning champion from last year, poster boy for this sport, Vince Byron out of Australia. All three of these guys, just super nice guys, great role models. They do fantastic things for kids in the sport, and we congratulate, once again, Vince Byron. So that's a great shot to have right there. Once again, some of the greatest action sports athletes in the world have come to Shanghai, China. They have left us with some great memories of the 2014 Kia World Extreme Games. Until next year, from Shanghai, China, I'm Paul Higgins. Thanks for watching.